Hi, Tribe. I just want to start out with a message of gratitude for everyone who subscribed to my channel and showed me their support. Last week I was at 25 subscribers and we're now up to 60, so that's amazing. Thank you so much. I am so appreciative. I'd like to continue the conversation about dreams. And it's really important for me to relate that when working with dreams is the same as working with meditation, Reiki, any healing modality, hypnosis. We are really accessing the same states in order to manifest, heal, create in our life. There are just different ways of going about it, and us being able to take advantage of all the moments where we're naturally in these states to create, to heal, to be able to come to self-mastery is really important, that we recognize these moments and use them adequately and properly to help us create what we want in this life. So that's really the most important message I think I want to bring across today. So Theta is the key. Theta is the state. You can be in Theta while your eyes are open, while you're in meditation, when you're in a hypnosis session, when you're working with dreams. It's the state that you're in right before waking fully into the ordinary conscious mind, or right before you fall asleep into a deep sleep where you lose consciousness. It's a state where your body is in complete stillness. You feel in complete harmony. It's a place where there really is very few thoughts, and you're still aware of yourself in this third dimensional plane, in this matrix. That state, when you're there, use it. Use it to create, use it to connect to your higher self, use it to receive messages from your guidance. Use it to heal. It's very powerful. And that is the main message that I really want to give today. I will be talking about dreams, and I'm going to be going through all of this material. But at the end of the day, the key is Theta. There is work that could be done in deeper states and higher states, but we don't have to have access to those in order to start working very efficiently. So everything that I do in hypnosis with a client, I do it in Theta. And let me tell you what that means. That means that clients have been able to heal themselves. They have been able to connect with past lives. They've been able to connect to future lives. They have gone into the cosmic, galactic spheres and dimensions and explained to me what they're experiencing there. They connect to their alien, galactic, cosmic family. They connect to loved ones that have passed. They connect, most important, the most important part that happens in Theta is that you have direct access to your higher self, direct access to your higher self, and you have access to the Akashic records, which means all information on all people, past, present, future, because when you're in Theta, you have access to higher dimensions that don't experience time the way we do. Everything collapses there, and everything's happening simultaneously. And I know this, I know this for certain. I had a visceral, incredibly piercing experience that spanned 14 years, specifically to teach me the truth of this statement, that time doesn't exist, and that we're experiencing everything simultaneously. It's so exquisite. I did share it in a video I did in the past, and I took the video down. Maybe I'll find it and post it again. But the most important thing about Theta is you have access to your higher self. So what is your higher self? Your higher self is an aspect of you that resides in a higher dimension, that is all-seeing, all-knowing, connected to the collective. Knows is connected to the collective, but has an very definite connection to you in this third dimension. When we're in the higher dimensions, we feel more collective. We feel more part of a whole. And when we're in the third dimensional experience, we feel separate. So I had a very turning point experience with my higher self, because people talk about it. It sounds, it's romantic and it's a nice sounding name, higher self. But what really is the higher self? And how do you know you're in the presence of that wise voice that all of us have? We all have connection to a wisdom. And for me, it happened. I'm going to just tell the story about the moon dance. I went to a moon dance in Costa Rica. This was in February of 2010. And the schedule was, it was 4-night dance from dusk to dawn. We danced to the 4 directions. But before we actually entered the dance, we needed to cleanse ourselves in a sweat lodge. And after the dance, we also had to purify in a sweat lodge. So that meant that for the 4 nights that we danced, we did 2 sweat lodges a day. And so it was a total of 8 sweat lodges. Now, if you've never experienced a sweat lodge, sometimes it could be stressful. The interesting part was we ate very little. We danced all night. We were up most of the day. So we were pushing our bodies to the limits. We were really pushing our bodies to the limits. Then I remember that by the time I was doing, it was probably the 5th sweat lodge. I had done 2 days already, 4 sweat lodges, 2 days. And it was the beginning of the ceremony where we were going into purify before we did the dance on the 3rd day. And I remember having a tremendous amount of fear of going into the sweat lodge, because when I would go in, just imagine it's like a hole in the ground covered with tarps, and it's done in a very sacred way. If you're going to do a sweat lodge, make sure it's done by grandmothers and grandfathers or elders that really know what they're doing. It has to be done with prayer and very intentional in how it's formed and created and how it's held. So just imagine going into this hole in the earth. They cover the entrance so that there's no light whatsoever coming in. And then in the center of the this circular sweat lodge. There is a hole, a deeper hole in the ground where they put these what they call grandfathers. There's volcanic stones that were in a fire. They're fire keepers that actually bring these stones to a very, very hot temperature, and they drop them into the hole. And then the grandmothers throw, because this was for the women, the grandmothers threw water on the rocks, and it creates this steam. But it's so thick, and when you're in the back, and you're like, I think we were like 60 women crunched in side by side. I was so tight in that I had to pull my legs in. So I was sort of like in this, I don't know, this sitting position. My knees are almost up to my chin, and we're all squashed in there. And if you're all the way in the back, there's no way out. Like if you wanted to get out, 60 women had to, like at least half of them would have to leave the sweat lodge for you to get out. And I remember there were many moments in the last 4, because this was the 3rd day, many moments in the last 4 sweat lodges that I felt I couldn't breathe. And I had a lot of anxiety going in this day. For some reason, I was in fear. And I remember going in, and the steam starts to come in, and I start to panic. I went into total panic. And I was saying to myself, I can't stay here. I need to leave. And the anxiety hit such a high pitch in my body. And this fear, like it was a fear of death, really. I was like faced with my own demise, that something split in me. Something split in me. It was the most amazing feeling. And what I experienced was, I'm going to say to my right, I was still had the fool that was crying and in total hysteria, trying to figure out how to get out of where she was, because she was going to die. And there was another part that completely took over emotionally the entire experience. That was my higher self. That was just saying to me, hey, calm down. You're going to be fine. And there was such power. It was such a powerful experience to feel this divine aspect of me take over, while I was still experiencing at some level the other part, but in like sort of almost like in a muffled. It was like a muffled, like someone turned down the volume to the fear part and turned up the volume to the wisdom, the power, the eternity of what I was. And I had that duality for that moment, and I realized what my higher self was. It's unbelievable, the power and the certainty and the wisdom and the clarity that comes when this voice comes in. So that's who we're accessing when I say to you, your higher self. It is that amazingly powerful. And that's when I say, remember who you are. That's who I'm asking you to remember. And when you were a child, you were totally connected to that. Maybe before you were 5, when you were 3, 4, 5 years old, you were totally connected to that powerful side of you. This, of course, is if you had a loving childhood where you had the playfulness and and you were surrounded by love and that innocent curiosity, and were able to feel sure about yourself and safe, then you can really experience at that age who your higher self is. What does it mean to be connected to that? So that is the mission of this channel. This channel is to be able to coach you through these different possibilities. I'm creating signs for you. Like if you were looking at a map and you wanted to go somewhere and you were looking at the signs, how do I go to California or Colorado? And you were looking for the signs on the road. I am trying to give you signposts on your journey to say to yourself, okay, I know I'm in Theta. What can I do with this? And then give you different things that you can do while you're there. Okay, so I'm going to end this here, and then I want to record something. I don't want to make these recordings too long. I want to record something about programming the avatar. That's really important for you to, if you're unprogramming, then you need to program. And how to stay clear of messages that are not going to serve you. Okay, tribe, love you. If I didn't say this, thank you. Thank you for subscribing. I'm really, really thankful.